Welcome to the Pet Expert. In a moment, Darlene Arden will be talking with ReAnn Ring. Sponsors for this episode of the Pet Expert are the Ovarian Cancer Symptom Awareness Organization and Aaliyah Zobel Nolan.
Hi, this is Darlene Arden welcoming you to the Pet Expert, and my guest today is ReAnn Ring. ReAnn is darn well known in Atlanta. She's been on TV enough, and she has one of her things she does, other than that, is create Christmas decorations for, I guess, big businesses and things. It could be Christmas all year round with ReAnn, and she's promoting a film, and she does all kinds of things, but we're going to be focusing on her little dog. I want to hear all about Lilly. ReAnn, welcome to the Pet Expert.
Thank you. I love talking about my famous little dog.
Well, let's talk a little bit about background about you. You founded Safire Productions Media, so people can get to know you a little, and you do all kinds of things because you're very talented. You do public relations stuff. And what is this with the Christmas decorations?
Well, it's kind of interesting. Sometimes the greatest things transpire and you're in it before you realize you're in it, It kind of found me. People say that sometimes fame or something finds them. Well, this found me. I was in the commercial industry with real estate, and I was doing some of the aesthetic decorating inside the buildings, and pretty soon I was asked, do you do commercial decorating for Christmas? And I said, yeah, I can do that. And so literally I learned this vocation overnight and kind of found my niche, and before I knew it, it exploded. Of course, work ethic and killing yourself to make things look good and please your customer helps to grow a business, but before I knew it, it had expanded well above what I ever anticipated. I think we grew about 70% last year. So this was really, really something to have happened, and I sort of found myself in it. Yeah.
So it's like businesses and hotels and all of that sort of thing? Or?
Well, mostly the commercial high-rises. When you see these high-rises in Atlanta, a lot of times they have a myriad of tenants in the building, and Christmas, fortunately, is still celebrated widely, and they make it festive that time of year. So they hire me to come in and put together creative looks for the building, the lobby mostly, sometimes outdoor work as well. And then, on the off season, when I'm not doing Christmas as much, Christmas is becoming just about year round, I'm very involved in media. Some of the Christmas I actually put on TV. I've been asked to come on and do shows, but that parlays into other things. I love to teach God's Word in the Bible, and I've been given a couple of really strong messages to help others in business. So the other time of the year, I am spending teaching others how to do business according to God's Word, and just by simple ways that I've learned by trial and error. But I get bombarded with questions on ideas and how to grow and become an entrepreneur, and so I spend the rest of my year training and teaching people how to do that, especially on social media.
That's terrific, and social media is so new, and people need some help. Some of us are self-taught, which is interesting, and you really need that professional touch. Now tell me about Lilly, because I know my listeners are dying to hear about your little Chihuahua. She's a smooth. I did see a picture. She's a smooth.
Oh, she's a doll. She is cute as can be. She is a short coat, apple head, and I found her through a wonderful kennel down in south of Augusta, Georgia, Dogwood Gap Kennels. And Melanie Harper Clark was the lady that owns the company. And I was just looking online one day, and I thought, I'm ready for a second Chihuahua. I had one at that time that was 4 years old, and I thought, I want a sibling for her. So I hunted far and wide, and I had a little black Chihuahua. I wanted a white one this time. So this adorable little picture popped up, and she had just posted that picture 3 hours before that. And I wrote her, and I said, I want her. I knew that was the one for me. I saw her mom and dad. I saw the doggy mom and dad, and I knew, kind of charting what she would look like, how she would be. She was the cutest thing. So I found her and went down to meet her, picked this little thing up, and I got myself into a four-legged party. She is the cutest, most animated little dog. Personality, very unlike, a lot of Chihuahuas are kind of territorial and a little more feisty. She's anything but that. She is an absolute mascot in my apartment complex. Everybody loves her in the hallway. She doesn't know a stranger. She's just adorable. Everybody falls in love with her. So
the breed standard calls for it to be terrier-like. So she's kind of the antithesis of the terrier-like personality, although terriers are awfully sweet. But they're usually extremely active. Is she active and running and doing?
Oh, yes. Yeah, she is. In fact, she like most typical little dogs, she was a jumper and chewed and do all those things, and of course I'm one of those that if she chewed up a pair of shoes, I laughed and applauded and said, good doggy.
Well,
I thought, she's a normal dog. Most people have a fit. Well, I figured, if it's on their level and you put a risk out there, furniture and all, you just got to deal with the consequences. So she outgrew all that, but I absolutely adored this little dog. She really did know. Yeah, she was. She really does.
How old is she now?
She is going to be 5 in December.
So she's kind of got a birthday coming up at Christmas. Now, I understand that she needed surgery. What happened with this little girl?
Oh, boy, that was something. Well, they tell you, dogs are jumpers, and sometimes when they're puppies, they want to leap tall buildings in a single bound, whether it's a short distance or long. I've learned with Chihuahuas, especially when they're puppies, you have to hold on to them around the nape of their neck because they'll jump right out of your arms onto the floor. They jump. I don't highly recommend little Chihuahuas for kids because of that, unless they are calm kids that can play with them on the ground. I just think you have to really watch carrying Chihuahuas around. It's so tempting to put them in a purse and hold on to them. Depending on the temperament of the dog, my other little dog just stayed put. I put her in a purse and she would lay there. I could take her into restaurants. She'd be sound asleep. Nobody'd even know she was in there. But the other dog was just very, very active. So she jumped a lot, chased, ran, did her thing. And over a period of a couple of years, I started to notice that she would do the familiar thing. Now it's familiar to me. Hide in the closet. She was shivering and in pain, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong at first. I thought it was something internally. And so, like in her intestines or something that she'd eaten. And I had her examined, I don't know how many different vets before we finally figured out with a good old mom and pop vet here locally in Atlanta, Duluth Animal Hospital. One of the vets there figured out it was a disc in her neck. And I knew I was in for some trouble because discs aren't always easy to treat. If you keep them immobile, the inflammation goes down. But if they keep active, which they're dogs, they're going to run and play, and that's what they do. So eventually I had 2 discs we discovered through an MRI. And by then she was unable to use her front paws. She made one final move about a month ago that did the trick. And pretty soon she was losing her ability to stand on her front paws, and I took her immediately to the vet to have her treated. So, through some investigating, I finally found a good vet that could do some surgery and fix the problem.
Okay, we're going to pause for just a minute to hear all about women who still love cats too much, and then we'll be back to hear more about Lilly's surgery.
you gather fur from your cat's brush to make earrings? Do you call 911 when your cat has a hairball? Ever contemplated surgery to look more like your putty? Not to worry. Now there's a book that addresses these cat codependent behaviors, actions many would consider cause for 12-step programs or heavy medication. It's called Women Who Still Love Cats Too Much, and it helps women addicted to their cat's happiness realize that, first, it's okay, and second, they're not alone. Written by cat humorist Aaliyah Zobel Nolan, author of 200 traditionally published titles, Women Who Still Love Cats Too Much validates the challenges women go through to do more, give more, be more to those tiny furballs who share and rule their lives. Zobel Nolan believes readers will find themselves in these pages and learn to appreciate and laugh at the things women who still love cats too much do for love. With hysterical drawings by Sylvia cartoonist Nicole Hollander, the book is available for pre-order on Amazon and wherever books are sold. It's on shelves in September. For more information on Zobel Nolan and her LOL books and her cats, go to www.aliyahwrites.com. That's www.aliyahwrites.com.
When we last left the saga of Lilly, how much does she weigh?
Lily fluctuates between probably 8-9 pounds total.
She's a big girl, as Chihuahuas.
No, she's kind of medium for Chihuahua. There are bigger Chihuahuas. She's kind of on the smaller end.
They're bigger, but they don't. I'm talking about the breed standard, and so she's kind of on the big side, which is good when they need surgery because the smaller they are, the harder it is with anesthesia and with operating on small dogs. So what happened? Did you end up with an orthopedic surgeon?
Well, here's what ended up happening. I did chiropractic care. I did laser treatments. I did everything I could to get the inflammation down. I kept her sometimes in a crate for a little while and behind baby gates to keep her from moving. And that's hard for a little dog who's active to live like that. They don't understand. But when she was in pain, dogs are smart. They know when to gauge themselves. But she would push, too much running before she'd say, uh-oh, this is catching up with me. So I had to really watch her. So I hobbled along as best I could with what I could do. Tramadol, I tried everything. Prednisone, you name it. Finally, I ended up with a fabulous vet here in Atlanta who ended up really becoming the pioneer for physical therapy for dogs after surgery. Dr. Tillman at Loving Touch Animal Center probably is one of the best vets I've ever seen. The woman is amazing. Very, very good at chiropractic care, and they do acupuncture, and they do traditional medicine too. So she could get the wide range of treatment, and we did everything we could. But finally, when it was starting to go, I knew I needed to do something more aggressive with, a permanent solution. Right. So I was actually talking to one of my employees who recommended the North Georgia Veterinary Hospital out in Beaufort, Georgia. I had no idea this clinic existed. And I walked into this place, and it was stellar, clean, had a physical therapy lab on the side of the building, wonderful, warm group. I was surprised at their pricing. They were very affordable. And
really?
They had
That's amazing.
they had neurosurgeons that would check and do everything right there. They did the CAT scans, the whole 9 yards. So I had her checked, and that's when they said she had 2 discs that were needing to be removed. Oh, my heart fell. I was devastated for her. I felt so bad for that little thing. Such a good little dog to suffer this much, though.
Right. So you went ahead with you scheduled surgery. Now, when did that happen?
Well, that was probably about a month ago, right around the end of July. Around the mid to end of July is when the whole thing happened, and the surgery happened. She is now about 4 weeks out from the actual surgery. So she's hopping along pretty good here. I have to do physical therapy with her every day, but I don't have to keep her crated as much. They said she could be out as much as up to 4 hours a day, up 24 hours a day, and I don't really have her out that much. She pretty much sleeps, and you can tell when she's fatigued. She'll lay down and rest. But the therapy is really helping. It's neck movements, having her hop over little surfaces like a broom handle, walking on uneven surfaces like pillows or blankets on the ground to make her work those muscles very, very carefully.
We're going to come back and talk more in depth about this recovery period, but we're going to stop for a minute to hear about the Ovarian Cancer Symptom Awareness Organization. We'll be right back with ReAnn and more of Lily's story.
The number of women who are diagnosed with ovarian cancer in 2015 is projected to be 21,290. Approximately 14,180 will die this year as a result. The Ovarian Cancer Symptom Awareness Organization works to expand awareness of the silent symptoms of ovarian cancer so that it can be found early. If ignored, it progresses and is advanced by the time it's discovered. Part of the One Health initiative uniting human and veterinary medicine in a common goal, they are fighting ovarian cancer with animal passion. The Ovarian Cancer Symptom Awareness Organization is a 501c3 charity. Donations are tax deductible. To learn more about their organization and the silent symptoms, visit ovariancancersymptomawareness.org today. That's Ovarian Cancer Symptom Awareness, OVARIANCancersymptomawareness.org.
ReAnn, we're back. Now, you started to tell us about the recovery period. How long was it before you started therapy? I mean, I'm sure you brought her home after how long after the surgery?
Well, traditionally, with one disc, they're in the hospital, they stay 3 to 4 days, and then you're very carefully keeping them, very, very limited movement. But the key with physical therapy is, and I've learned this, and this is where Dr. Tillman had to come to the, she brought it to everybody's awareness in the veterinary world here in Atlanta. They don't need to stay immobile for too long because their muscles atrophy. It's extremely important that after they've had a period, enough time to heal, you've got to have, a few days to heal, then you get them slowly back on their feet with physical therapy. After a good week after surgery is when they start just evaluating how they did from the surgery, how they recovered. With 2 discs, she needed a full week in the hospital. I left her there. They took care of her 24/7. They did everything. The catheter, they fed her. They did everything they could to keep her as comfortable as possible with medication. And so I waited several days before I went to visit so I wouldn't get her too excited to see me. And it was pretty painful the first time I saw her. I was pretty emotional myself with this whole thing. It took me out.
Such a baby.
Oh, yeah. I just felt she's such a sweetheart. There's nothing I wouldn't do for her. But then the next day I went back, and they asked me to bring her some food that would really tempt her. And, boy, she snarfed that food down and really was doing well. So it was a full week in the hospital for rest, then another full week at home, pretty limited in movement, and that's when we started physical therapy with 2 weeks out from the surgery, just very easily. It eased her into it, just a very easy regime of exercises. And I go back in another 2 weeks, which will be a week from now, for the next round of the next level to take her to for recovery. They say it takes, from what I'm reading, anywhere from 6 months to a year for them to fully recover. She's coming along pretty quick, but I'm really watching her.
Right, you don't want to push it. Right. Exactly.
Oh, no, she wants to push it, and I'm not letting her.
Of course she does. Usually, if they don't feel well, they'll stop. But, if they're feeling well, they may push too far, and you don't want that happening. You don't want to go back and start at square one. She sounds so precious and so adorable. Does she go everywhere with you?
Not really. Even leading up to that, I kept her home because she had so many problems with her neck. Things could really set her off. If she was around other animals, she wanted to play, and then next thing I knew, she was in the corner shivering in pain, or she would just get overly excited. Yeah, I really had to watch her. Now, of course, she rules the house, so she didn't know any different. But now I probably will do a little bit more. I'm going to be pretty guarded because if she has a propensity for this, I know how to watch it. All fours on the floor. There won't be any jumping. I've really, really worked to make sure there's nothing here she can hop on to hop off of. And really watching how she is recovering here, what it's going to take for the long run. They did recommend that it would be an 85 to 90% recovery rate, and to watch her from that point on. So fortunately, we caught it early. She wasn't completely paralyzed. I did the full gamut of surgery. The doctor was tremendous. Their care was amazing, and they just loved her. So she got really, really good care. I was pleasantly surprised at the care I received there. Really, really surprised.
I often see better veterinary care than I see in human medicine. So, yes, I've always said I would much rather have a veterinarian as my primary care physician.
Indeed. I liked your approach. They were a lot more calm about it than I was. I noticed, too, dogs do a little better sometimes when their mommies aren't around.
Exactly.
If I left, they could really watch her without the bias of seeing her every day, but then the benefit of me knowing her, I could see how she was doing, myself. But I stayed away so they could do their job. They knew it was normal for a dog, so, I kind of stayed out of it and let them do what they do best. And it kind of gave me a break, because I couldn't sleep at night with her. It would keep me up all night long. Prednisone drives their hunger and activity level up. I was up every 2 to 3 hours. Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Like having a newborn infant, a little preemie. And it's a lot of work, and most people don't understand how much work a puppy is, or a dog who is sick for one reason or another, or is recovering from surgery, and that's a responsibility that you take on, and it's for the life of the dog. And the smaller the dog, the longer they live. So, hopefully you two will have a long, healthy, happy life together.
Yes, I plan on it.
Thank you so much, ReAnn Ring, for joining us and telling us about what's been going on with Lilly's surgery. I'm sure a lot of people have learned from your experience, and I can say that if you have a small dog, and it's my area of expertise with behavior work, don't let them jump. Teach them to ask to go up, because you don't want to end up where Lilly did. So think about that. I live in a house, a slab house with cement floors, so that was the first thing I had to teach. No jumping. They're like little jumping jacks. So please give Lilly a kiss from us, and thank you so much for joining us on the Pet Expert.
Thank you.
This is Darlene Arden, thanking you for joining the Pet Expert. I want to thank our wonderful engineer, John Baldwin, and our fantastic producer, Lisa Bennett. Join us again the next time the Pet Expert is chatting.